Chapter 3. A week later, colorful balloons and confetti scattered across the counter. Nurses gave Molly hugs while her mom sliced into the rainbow-colored cake that was over 2 feet long. Molly smiled and said, "Thank you for keeping me alive." Sniffles rose in volume, making me uncomfortable. A brass bell hung from a sturdy pole in the floor. Molly shook the clapper one time. The ring echoed throughout the halls, and everyone quieted until the noise faded into small heroic nothings. As the nurses munched on cake, I spied the clock. It was nearly time. Slipping away, I headed to a room that I'd been wanting to visit. A room that housed a criminal who was currently on his deathbed. 3 guards took rotations. This time, Leon was on post, and he adhered to brakes like I adhered to changing the oil in my car, routinely and with precision. I guess he wasn't too worried about the old man escaping. Peeking around the corner, I waited for Leon to disappear through a set of doors. With one thought in mind, I walked fast. Without wasting time, I pushed open the heavy door. Inside the room, it was cold and dark. The blinds had been drawn shut, casting shadows over the bed where the criminal slept. A long beard covered his neck, more hair than what was on his head. He was sleeping, or at least I thought he was. Halfway to him, his eyes opened. I grabbed his chart from the foot of the bed and scanned his medical history. He had laryngeal cancer. "What do you want?" he mumbled, his voice rough. I placed the chart back in its slot, eyeing him. "I want to know what you did." I motioned toward his handcuffs hooked by a large chain to the edge of the bed. He studied my janitorial outfit. "I've seen you before." I already knew the crime he committed. I'd overheard a few workers talking when they wheeled him in days earlier. He kidnapped his ex-girlfriend and stabbed her 93 times. The bearded man didn't deserve to live. He didn't deserve his cushy existence in a hospital bed with fluffy pillows to prop his head. I'd cleaned his room a couple times, but I'd never been allowed alone with him. My palms throbbed. He laughed painfully with an evil grin, exposing gaps between yellow teeth. His matted beard was stained, and his eyes jaundiced. I gradually approached him, not with fear, but with a predator's pace. Removing my latex gloves, I stuffed them in my pocket. "Was she the only one you killed?" I asked. I lessened the distance between us and placed my hand on the bump in the white quilt where his leg lay. Locking eyes with him, I cocked my head to the side. I didn't place my hands on many people, knowing the pain it caused them. But as time lingered, if I didn't touch anyone, my hands itched for connection. I'd been this way since birth, and twice contemplated chopping them off. His dingy grin melted away with his imperious demeanor. Placing my palms on him would only take a second, but I wouldn't kill him. Death would be coming soon for him anyway. Without time to spare, I slapped one hand over his mouth. At the same time, I grasped his left arm with my other hand. Muffled, wet screams attempted to escape beneath my palm. I bent closer, coldly staring into his eyes, inches from his face. A euphoric wave rushed through my fingertips and up my wrists. I held on tighter, not wanting to let go. His eyes rolled into the back of his head. Tremors overtook his arms, flinging his right hand out to the side, yanking the long chain. A clanging sound caught my attention. A cup had fallen from the table next to me. The sound snapped me back to reality. What am I doing? I looked down at the cup and back up at him. Unsure if he could hear me, I uttered, "You will die. Soon. But not today." I wanted so badly to leave my hands on him, to kill him. But the other half of me thirsted differently. I wasn't a murderer. I wouldn't be, not for this. Not for him. I released my clammy hands. The bearded man panted for oxygen. His heart monitor raced. His chest rose up and down. I swiftly exited, realizing how close I had come to being exactly like my family.